Hello there, Libra. My name's Frankie, and I'm a clairvoyant, clairaudient medium, and an empath. This reading's going to be for Libra for May of 2019, flying by. Anyhow, for all of you that are new, I pull 4 cards for the month, and we use the bottom card on the deck for an overall view of the month. And we'll pull an angel card at the end of the reading to hopefully bring everything together for us. Now, because I am an empath, I have a speech pattern. I speak as if I'm you. That, I guess, makes all of us Libras named Frankie for the time of this reading. Now, look at your moon sign and your rising sign. You get a more comprehensive view of the month, and I don't think these cards are going to go week by week. I think they'll blend in and out throughout the month as an overall theme for the month. Now, I have a short message for us, and it feels like this month is all about relationships and how we choose to handle them. And what I'm getting off of that is handle them carefully and wisely and responsibly. Now, that's kind of a strange way to put it, but responsibly. And I understood it in a little bit. It could be, we're all different Libras. It could be something at work, maybe something at home, maybe something in friendships, or business partnerships, but to be careful how we handle them. Now, we have good words, and they kind of go with these cards: resilience, spontaneity, patience, forgiveness, and exploration. I like that exploration one, but our card on the bottom of the deck here is the Seven of Rods, and that's an interesting card. It's a card about courage and determination, about someone who was willing to fight for what he believes in and stand his ground no matter what. Stand their ground no matter what. Now, rods usually mean business, finance, career type energy, go around. So for some of us, it's going to maybe be at work. We might have, with this card, we could have fallen into like complacency, but now we're back on our game again and we're really active. We're going to look at his face. Extremely determined, standing his ground, got that rod in front of him, and the other 6, he's knocking them right down. It's about profit and gain after determinedly, I can't get the word out of my mouth, holding off the competition or the enemies. That's actually what it means. And looking at these other cards, that's really interesting to put it that way. It's when we've been outnumbered, but our determination wins the day. Our sheer determination wins the day. And when we get this card, we find inner resources in ourselves. That's our word resilience here, that we never even suspected or knew that we had. We have the advantage right now, and because we have the advantage, we'll eventually achieve success by that sheer force of will alone, and our personality. It's quite interesting, and our personality. Now, being as that little message about relationships, this card shows that we can stand our ground. If someone was like uh, bothering us, bossing us around, um, forcing us is what I want to say, to do maybe jobs or work that we just absolutely, it wasn't our job to do, it'll probably get quite interesting. So looking at this card, I think a lot of us are going to be called on to just step up because of the word spontaneity. Like, step up to the plate, be ready to and determined to um, hold our point of view and to be right about it. And to make sure our point of view, whoops, can't get my other card up off the table here. Make sure our point of view is backed up, is what I want to say. Backed up, because we have resilience here and exploration. I'm going to say backed up by the facts, because our next card here is the King of Swords. Isn't that wonderful, Libra? We've shown up in our own reading. So that in itself is pretty amazing to me, and it means it's an important and good month. Now it's male or female, right? Because these are general readings. It's always air. It will be Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini energy. That's us. Who else is more resilient and more factual, is what I want to say this time about him. Really has his act together, has all the facts, has them all backed up. This is, a card of power and authority, and a power and authority, and the ability or the willingness to use force if necessary. And the key words there are if necessary. So we want to really think about that, because he's super resilient, spontaneous, but a very patient type of energy. Doesn't jump the gun. It represents a person of power, and like I said, that great strength and authority. Sometimes they say it is only Libra, but it can be any air type energy. No matter what zodiac sign it shows, it's always usually air energy. So it could be someone who's going to help us, male or female, someone that could serve us, or us being called forth. And I think for the most of us, it's going to be the energy of being called forth, right? To use these qualities. The appearance of it has to do with like our mental processes, what goes on in our brain. If it's a person outside of us, is how I want to say that. It's someone who's involved in mental work, like a researcher, a lawyer, military officer, you know, a professional. So maybe some of us need a lawyer or something like that. But because they're standing here, if they're not us, it would be a good counselor with this really acute mental dexterity. In other words, they think on their feet. They really clearly, extremely rapidly. They express their thoughts with considerable eloquence. Considerable eloquence. So if it's not a person, it represents a situation in which these qualities are called for. And the reason I'm saying it this way is because of this energy, the Seven of Rods that we just talked about. Sometimes with the King of Swords energy, we'll get like a spiritual breakthrough, you know. A lot of times, though, it's about gathering the facts and the ability. The King of Swords has the ability to go to war spontaneously, but he's extremely patient, and he only uses war as a last course of action, never as a first. It's a very, very mature energy. So we want to keep that in mind, and we want to remember it throughout this month. So whatever we're dealing with, right, around these relationship issues, make sure that we are standing in our strength, that we just don't pop off spontaneously, because the King of Swords does not use force unless it's absolutely necessary. Very mature, very logical, extremely logical, and I think we're going to be called to do that this month, however it comes down or wherever it comes down. The King of Swords energies like could be the neutral party in a situation. Someone who can look at the overall situation and see it very clearly. That's why lawyer type energy from both sides of the spectrum, and then step back and make sound judgments determine um, by looking at those facts. So it's not an emotional energy. I know we're the scales of balance, and some cards, this King of Swords energy, he holds those scales in his hands because he's just, he's fair, he's loyal, he's trustworthy. When you get this advice, you know it's the right advice, it's something to act on, something to work on. The King of Swords would rather call a truce versus the conflict. So I don't know what this is going to mean. That's why I always tell you guys look at your moon sign and your rising sign. You get a more comprehensive view of the month, but basically that's how I pray for these readings, so that whoever or whatever spot it touches, you're ready for that. Because here's our next card, and that's the ten of rods energy. So, and like I said, usually rods is career, finance, business, money type stuff like that. This is sometimes with this card we're starting a new cycle, right? Because it's a 10. It's the beginning. All the crap's behind us. We could be taking these burdens on our shoulders and doing it happily. We would have the strength, we would have the character, we would feel that we could do anything at this point, no matter how difficult the task. So for some of us, stepping up to the plate is going to be exactly what we want and need to do because there's something better that we want, to move forward with. So in that respect, maybe some of us it's a new relationship, or maybe someone's sick around us and we have to take up the slack. A friend, husband, wife, a co-worker, maybe we're doing their job for a short period of time. Maybe they're off work, I don't know, but we're taking over and we're doing it happily. But for others of us, it's labor that has gone for nothing, or carrying burdens that we don't really need or want, um, or burdens that don't belong to us. It makes us real weary feeling as if the whole world has been placed on our shoulders. You know, like, why me? Why me, Libra, this month? Everybody's dumping everything on me. You know, it's up to us, though, with this card to, to decide whether the heavy responsibility, because that's what it means, heavy responsibilities are on our shoulders, whether it's legitimately required and it's something we want to do, or whether someone else is shirking their duties. And we got three kind of conflict cards in here, and the King of Swords, So, with that in mind, some of us, sometimes it's like one member of the family or one person in the organization gets to do all the dirty work for the simple reason that they are willing to do it. That simple reason that they are capable of doing it. That simple reason. And because they want things to go better. But with this card, make sure others are doing their fair share, and we are to ask for help if we need it, right? Don't let pride stand in our way of asking for help And a lot of times we do that. We are like, we'll do it all ourselves, just let me do it all myself. It's easier if I do it all myself. I don't have to put up with all the aggravation and that kind of stuff. But this card always bugs me if it comes down on that side, let's say. And it could be the kid that I tell them to take out the garbage and they say, yeah, yeah, I'll get to it. 3 days later, the garbage is on the floor and I take out the garbage because it's too much. Or make your bed, clean up your room. It's like, really? You know? Really? Or the coworker at work that turn, or even a partner that says, do this, do that, do, and they're sitting watching, doing whatever, and you're just like, somebody's got to help me around here. Ask and be firm. When you ask for the help, be firm. Our word patience is in here, our word forgiveness. But if we're the one, right, that this isn't our job and it's a coworker, right? And I always think filing their fingernails and then they pile all the work on my desk at the last minute, walk out early because, well, Libra, I have a nail appointment on Fridays. And I finish up the work because I don't want to be the one in trouble, and I appreciate my company or organization. But sometimes it gets to the point where everybody's throwing the work on the desk at us, and then we get this. That's our next card, Five of Swords energy. It's what it suggests is a double-edged sword. Like on one hand, it could be misfortune, betrayal, or loss. On the other hand, though, it's about boundaries that we all have to face and live with. It's like it's about flying in the face of life's unavoidable or limitations. Someone could have disappointed us with this card, but maybe we were expecting too much of them. If they didn't do it before and we told them to do it, maybe they're not going to do it again. So we have to get our point across. All the fives are about adjusting, and this five means that we're adjusting to some kind of change brought on by distress sometimes or loss. But change is part of life. It's an uncomfortable process. But the more we resist change, the more difficult we make it for ourselves to change, to accept the change. And I'm saying it that way because of our final card here. So whatever's being challenged and calling for us to change, whether it's our lifestyle, maybe our philosophy, maybe inner beliefs about ourselves. Now's the time to go to work, basically, and to implement the changes in our basic everyday life. Now, the Five of Swords energy also, remember we have the King of Swords in here, and he's very powerful. Five of Swords energy also could be a card of a hollow victory. See all these people here, I think there's two, is there two? Yeah, two people here in this card. Sometimes there's two swords on the ground, two people walking away, and I have all the other swords in my hand. So it's a card of conflict, but conflict, maybe I could have done it in a better way. Instead of coming out the gate with that sword right in front of me and rushing and charging, maybe if I used diplomacy, like the King of Swords energy, I could have stated my case, right? And got the truths and still remain friends or partners or, whatever else that I wanted in my life. So I don't want it to be a hollow victory. I want it to be a victory that if I'm confronting it, it's worth it. if that makes sense. If I'm confronting it or standing up or stepping up to the plate, it was worth it, because here's our next card here is a Two of Swords. And that's a card about making choices. Notice she has these two swords balanced perfectly in front of her chest. So now we have three swords energies and two rods energies. So it makes me think maybe some of this is going to be relationships at work, you know. But like I said, it could be anything. Um, it's a situation that appears as if, I'm going to say appears as if there is, it's going to be impossible to move forward. I think the key there is appears as if, especially with that Five of Swords energy in there. That's how it feels anyhow. It's a, when we're in a period of stasis, like maintaining a situation in a state of balance and ignoring the underlying tension that goes with it. Um, yeah, ignoring it. Like our Seven of Rods down here, and that they both go together. Our Ten of Rods and the Seven of Rods, we're ignoring the situation. It's an uncomfortable position to be in, but we aren't ready yet to do anything about it sometimes. Um, there's a need to speak up with this card. Notice she's blindfolded, not talking. She has her mouth closed too, and those swords in front of her chest. So there is that need to communicate about all the circumstances that communicate about the circumstances that are involved. It's kind of like a couple who puts up a facade to the outside world. Um, there's a determination to pretend everything's okay, but what that is basically denial, and choice is available, um, but it's almost as if we're waiting till the tension is like unbearable, but the choice is there, and we have to make the choice. So a choice is available, so we remove this blindfold. Note, she even has swords to cut it off with. We make the choice and look it squarely and honestly. With this card, we look honestly at the situation, because we don't want to lose something forever. We want, but the change has to be made. You know, the choice has to be made one way or another, and we have to speak to the issues that are bothering us. Probably is going to call for our patience, our resilience, our ability to forgive, and our ability to explore, like our word, exploration, explore the options. Can we come to a truce? You know, because otherwise um, we get in that muddled flow where, you know, we could have had a truce, but we ended up with this Five of Swords energy, and we lost something that would have made us happy, and the issue would have been addressed, if that makes any sense. You know, but based on its, I don't know what relationship basically it'll be, because we're all different Libras, but I think it's going to be around relationships for a lot of us, because it's that wands or rods energy there, and we have two of those. If we speak up, you know, if we speak up, we would state clearly with the facts, not blow off the handle, and maybe there can be compromise, truce could happen instead of conflict. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Oh crap. You can't make up the angel cards. I'm laughing because it's what do you desire, Libra? What do you desire? You now have the opportunity to write the script according to your heart's true desires. Once you closely decide upon your true desire and know that you're ready and deserving of it. They'll rush into your life as if by magic. And that's what it's about. Speaking up, sticking to the facts, right? Um, Not standing in the corner and letting it grow, you know, letting the conflict grow within our mind and not addressing it. It says this card comes to you because you've been waiting for an external sign of what you should do next. The angels say the answer comes from inside of you. You must decide what you want before anything can change. Think this month is about change. Carve out time to meditate upon your true heart's desires and know that you deserve the best, as we all do. Use affirmations and positive visualization to manifest your desire. Clarify your desires. And I'm going to say clarify your feelings about what's going on. Release any guilt or fear regarding asking for what you want. Sometimes we're surprised when we actually say, no, no, I can't do that, or I'm not going to do it. Interesting. You guys are going to have to tell me where it comes that what happens for this month. But use the energy wisely is the biggest message, and look at it squarely and defend what's legitimate and worth it. That's what they said to say. Well, Libra, that's our reading for this month. And I want to tell you all, thank you for your likes, shares, subscribes, and for your comments. I read each and every one of them, and I really appreciate them. If anybody wants to know more about me or just go neb about me, all of the information's in the About section below the screen. If you want to set an appointment with me, all of the information to do that is over at the website, and that's in the About section. There's 2 short videos over there, one about the prayer class and one about the sutras. Prayer class is 2.5-hour class explaining how to format prayers and why it's done the way it is, and the sutras are thought forms. You put in a 5-minute a day meditation that enhances the clear perceptions dramatically. And everybody I've met through 3 whole years of doing these YouTubes, and everybody I've met through 31 years of doing this work, which my husband has informed me it's not 30, it's 31. I want to tell y'all thank you very much. It's an honor, privilege, and a pleasure to serve you, and hopefully I'll see you back here next month. Bye-bye.